I'm meteorologist Carly Gomez, and we are tracking the first measurable snow of the season as we do anticipate it arriving October 25th into 26th. That's Wednesday into Thursday of the season. And we're looking at the Sierra Station Index. So far, northern, central, southern Sierras, we are all at zeros. And that's because October 1st, that was the start of the water year, and now we carry on into next year. It did end on September 30th with all of that rain and snow that we got over the winter months into early this year. Well, that is now being recorded into our 2022 and 2023 water season. That brought us about 429% of average to date. This was recorded on July 12th. Now, percent of the April 1st average of that time is 6%. We got so much rain and snow for the season. I mean, we really exceeded expectations. It was so nice to see. And now we may be carrying on that same kind of energy into this coming water year, which we're hoping to at least see some of the first measurable snowfall coming in as we start on to your Wednesday into Thursday. Let's look at the daily almanac for October 25th. Now, there aren't very many cities that have records that keep and date back very far when it comes to snowfall. So these are the two cities we're pointing out here for you. Tahoe City received 22 inches in 1920. We only saw trace amounts for South Lake Tahoe. That was coming in for 2016 for the date of October 25th. So, of course, records not going back as far for South Lake Tahoe as Tahoe City. But you can see it kind of runs the gambit here when we see it from 2016's trace amounts all the way to 22 inches. But for that October 25th date, I mean, that's pretty good to see snow that much that early. For us, though, looks like we may be breaking a record for South Lake Tahoe into the 25th. If we see more than even just trace amounts, an inch or so, that'll be breaking the record there. We do anticipate seeing as much as maybe an inch to 3 inches of snowfall coming in for October 25th to 26th. That's Wednesday to Thursday. Let's track what's exactly happening out here. We have a high pressure system that is expected to begin weakening very soon, as we're already seeing a trough beginning to dig its way into northern California. In the Pacific Northwest, that low pressure circulating and bringing a lot of moisture to areas of Washington and Oregon, now watching and tracking it moving its way south. For Wednesday, we do anticipate seeing most of those scattered showers remaining north of Sacramento, but a lot of those showers are expected to be in the foothill spots as well as the high Sierra, producing snow in areas. We're going to see the overnight lows dipping below freezing point in the early morning hours of Thursday. Majority of that snow is expected to accumulate into the early morning hours of Thursday. Now, as we start taking a look at our futurecast radar and what we can expect as we get to Wednesday about noon, this may be the best shot we have for the Sacramento area to see any kind of rain. Mostly expecting maybe a couple sprinkles on the windshield. Other than that, it's going to be mostly north. Areas into Yuba City could expect to see just a bit of those showers scattered through. And then again, the foothill spots experiencing just a bit of that wet weather as we get to the lunchtime hour. Fast forward here into the evening commute, you notice a lot of that rain continues on into the foothill spots, and we start seeing that mix of snow and ice, a little slush happening up there for the high Sierra spots off 80, and then becoming a little more solid for us here for South Lake Tahoe off 50. Now, we will expect to see more of these scattered showers moving through as they continue into the overnight hours, heading toward Yosemite there. By 3 a.m., everything becomes a little more solid. We start seeing temperatures dropping below freezing point at this point in time around 3 a.m. You notice a lot of the areas here, that moisture quickly switches, but the elevation is much higher. We're talking about 6,000 now feet here to about 8,000 feet for the highest points to receive more accumulation of snow. But really, we're only expecting a few inches of that snow. Some of the peaks, though, could get as much as maybe 6 inches. Let's take a look. The European model and the GFS aren't differing by much. What we're seeing with the GFS, it's bringing us as much as maybe 3 inches of snow around Donner and Tahoe City. The European model is only showing about 1 to 2 inches. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly what comes of this. But you notice most spots are seeing pretty much the exact same thing. A nice little dusting of snow accumulating 1 to 2 inches. Kind of nice to see early on in October as we continue this water year early in October. We're seeing this, of course, late October, but we're still kicking it off, and it feels very early for a lot of people. We're used to being in drought for so long. We finally experienced some more wet winters in a row. It's nice to see. All right, looking at potential rain totals, again, we're not expecting much of anything. For really the valley spots, 0 is mostly what we can see, maybe trace amounts. If we do get anything 1/100th of an inch to 5/100ths of an inch, but it's really going to be these foothill areas that could see about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch the higher up you go. Then, of course, it is showing a lot more of that rain also pushing into areas of Tahoe. Now, as we see that snowfall, we're also expecting to see rain as temperatures, of course, freeze in the overnight hours. That'll produce that rain into snowfall, and then we'll see that accumulation happening. Let's take a look at the winds, because that's another factor we're expecting with the next system pushing through. Now, this is already starting up. We're going to see the winds picking up into our Wednesday, early morning hours, 5:30 a.m., coming in off the southwest as the storm dips right over us, that trough pushing through, 15 to 20 mile per hour winds. Winds picking up in the strong wind gusts in the coastal range spots and just off the coastline there. But also just take a look here at the High Sierra, 5:30 a.m. You're already seeing very strong wind gusts to 35 to 45 miles per hour. So make sure you are securing anything you have outdoors. That includes the Halloween decorations we're all seeing. If you have anything that could blow away or is going to kind of fall over quickly, you need to secure that, or just bringing it in just for one night. We're really only seeing the very strong winds from Wednesday to Thursday, and you can put it back out there. All right, let's take a look into our Wednesday night. Again, strong winds over the Sierra Crest. Things do slow down just a bit for the valley as that trough passes on through. But then you're seeing strong winds for the Central Valley, Stockton, Modesto, all the way into Central Valley. So San Joaquin, Central Valley spots seeing the strong winds continuing to Wednesday night. And then Thursday, we're getting winds now shifting. They're now coming in from the northwest, coming in. And you can see about 15 mile per hour winds. That greenish yellow there, 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts. So if you have travel plans along I-5, do anticipate some strong winds, either headwinds or tailwinds, depending on where you're headed. But they are going to be strong up and down I-5 there. And we are going to see most of these winds beginning to slow down as we start getting into Friday and Saturday. You're just seeing kind of breezier conditions here. A little bit windy still for the High Sierra, but otherwise some light winds into the weekend. Let's talk temperatures. They will be dropping dramatically as this trough moves in from the north. That's bringing in a lot of that colder Alaskan air, Pacific Northwest air, as well as that moisture. So we are seeing mid-60s for the foothills, and also notice the overnight lows here are going to begin dropping as well. You're not going to notice them tonight, but we will see them from Wednesday night into Thursday and so on into the weekend, where instead of seeing these upper 40s and even low 50s, you're going to start to see temperatures in the mid to low 40s. So expect to see even temperatures maybe even drop to the 30s for some areas. Notice Truckee overnight from really Tuesday into Wednesday is going to be 39 degrees. We're going to see a lot colder temperatures from Wednesday to Thursday, dropping down to the low 30s and upper 20s. Now also take a look into the Bay Area, mid 60s and low 70s out there. For the valley, we do anticipate seeing these temperatures in the mid 60s around Sacramento, maybe a couple upper 60s and low 70s. A little further south you head, away from the trough. Remember, the trough's coming in, bringing the showers mostly from Sacramento north. Everything south of there, well, we're seeing those upper 60s and low 70s for the Central Valley. Looking at the 10-day forecast, again, mid 60s really dominate most of the week. So we are out of the 70s for the most part. We saw 76 for the high in Sacramento for your Tuesday. Now we're looking at mostly 60s into next week. And Tuesday, Halloween, expect temperatures near 70, a little cooler for some spots, but overnight lows around 41 degrees.